been very fortunate and feel very proud and privileged to have spoke to over 70,000 young people all over the UK. I've also been given the opportunity to travel to America too. So what took me from being the young sportsman, what took me from fulfilling a childhood dream, being a professional football player, representing my country at youth level, to being very fortunate to play in the Champions League and UEFA Cup, to being sat on these steps talking to you today. So my football career ended very early, in my early 20s, and it was time for me to reinvent myself. I went from being a professional football player, loving every minute of every day, fulfilling a childhood dream, to the next minute being on a building site carrying bricks for minimum wage. Now, there's nothing wrong at all with working on a building site. There's nothing wrong with being a labourer on a building site. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't my calling. I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't see where it was going to take me. I didn't have the skills to become a builder. I didn't want to become a builder, yet all day long I was moving bricks for minimum wage. And as I'm moving the bricks, I remember the story of a young boy that I met when I was playing football. We had the opportunity to go to a country called Azerbaijan when I was playing in the Champions League. And while we was on this trip, our manager asked us to go on a visit. Well, in fact, he told us we was going on a visit. He says, guys, we're going to go and visit an orphanage local to us. We're going to give back to the community. And I remember at the time, being a young sportsman, all we was focused on was the football match. We didn't understand why we was going to travel to an orphanage, and it was 3 hours away. There was no aircon on the minibus. It was a rubble road. There was no line markings. It was like every vehicle for themselves. And I remember getting on this bus, and after about an hour of traveling, we was all getting thirsty. It was really hot. So I remember pulling over at the side of the road and buying some drinks off a little stand that was on the kind of the side of the pavement. And as we got on the bus, it was so refreshing to have a nice cold drink, something that we take for granted in the UK, but where I was at this present time, that was a luxury. As we travelled a further 2 hours, we get to the orphanage, and as we get off the bus, we walk into the orphanage, and as we arrive, there was a corridor, and there was dormitories, and the first door that we walked in was full of young children playing and laughing and having fun. And we gave them memorabilia, we gave them little badges and little pennants, we gave them sporting gifts, and we played games with them. And as we're walking down the corridor, the further down the corridor of which we went, we realised that the children was becoming more severely ill. And I remember entering one room, and we had 2 team doctors on this trip with us. And I always remember the doctors having a conversation and overlooking this young person. As they're looking at this young person, as they walked away, I heard one doctor say to the other doctor, they're not going to make it. And I was 20 years of age at the time, and all my teammates were in this room, and one minute we're having fun with all these young people, and then we start to realise the severity of the environment of which we're in. This was an orphanage where young people was just dropped and left at the front door on the steps. Volunteers worked there, received no money at all. They gave their time to help people for the rest of their time. They gave their life to serve others. And as I'm in this dormitory, this one particular room, there's a little boy laid in the bed and had his sunglasses on. And he looked at my sunglasses and he points at the glass and he goes like this to pass me them. And as I go to pass him the sunglasses, one of my teammates says, Luke, he'll break them. And the little boy looks at me with a little mischievous smile and he goes like this. I take off my glasses and I give them to the little boy, and the little boy laid in the bed, he puts them on and he gives me this beautiful smile, and I smile back. And as he takes them off, he goes to give me the glasses. As he goes to give me the glasses, guess what he does? He holds the glasses and he pretends to break them. He gets the glasses and he starts to pretend to break them like this. And he looked at me and he burst out laughing. My teammates started laughing and I started laughing too. And I remember in that moment not caring if he broke my sunglasses at all, because the joy that I felt from having fun in that moment and that interaction with the young person and being able to give something to somebody that may not be in this world for as long as some others will be. For a young person to be laid in the bed, to take so much joy from an interaction of pretending to break some sunglasses, it filled me full of joy of what we can do for other people in this world. And as I'm on this building site many years later, when my life wasn't so great, I'd gone from being an international football player and earning lots of money to all of a sudden living back in the bedroom of which I'd grown up in, with the same black and white television what I also had too. It wasn't a very compelling life at that time. I remember thinking of that little boy, of how much joy he brought to me in that moment. just by me giving something to somebody else filled me full of purpose. It filled me full of fulfillment. I'd never felt so fulfilled in my life as when I got the opportunity to help that young person. And as my football career ended, I asked myself, what could I do with the rest of my time? And I made a commitment that for the rest of my life, I want to be able to help people as much as I can, wherever that is, whatever I'm doing. I didn't know. But I knew I enjoyed giving something to other people. I knew I enjoyed helping other human beings. That's why I'm sat here today. And that's why I speak with so much passion. That's why I speak with so much energy. Because if I can say something to you today, that as you leave that room, you do one thing with one thing that you've heard, your life may be slightly better tomorrow than it was today. Hopefully from watching this short talk, you now realize, more important than anything else, the reasons behind why I'm in front of you all today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and listen to this. I wish you all the very best. All my love, all my energy, and all my inspiration. Luke Staton.